Let's look at the master chain real quick. Now the master chain is actually very straightforward. Also, if you like to buy the vocal preset and the mastering preset that I've used for this record, I'm going to leave a link here so you can copy it, right? The first plugin on the master chain is this VU meter. Again, the purpose of this VU meter is to make sure I am constantly monitoring my inputs going to the mastering chain, right? The goal is to make sure I am not hitting the red or staying at the red, okay? Because at 0 dB, so I have about 6 dB of headroom going into the rest of my processing. Let's look at that real quick.
Die for you, but to see my money back, all of them for you. Can I water side money, it can never run dry, cause it's like an ocean. Turn your back on me when I'm talking.
So as you can see, I'm mostly just staying around 0 dB. We're crossing over to the red ever so slightly, but we're not staying there. The goal is to make sure we're sitting at 0. Again, at 0, we have about minus 6 dB of headroom to work with, which is great. And then the next plugin on the master chain is Ozone 11. Now with this plugin, I'm doing a bit of mid-side EQing to just tame some harsh frequencies that I felt like I did not need for this record. Again, my process is sort of the same with mixing vocals or mixing anything generally. So I fix problems first before I go into EQing and compression and all of that. Now for the sides, I've done a bit of cut up to minus 1 dB, around 332 hertz. But this EQing that I'm doing here is also dynamic EQing. So again, I'm only taking out frequencies that exceeds my threshold. Very, very important. When you're mastering, you don't want to make drastic changes. You just want to make subtle changes that will add up to a great result at the end of the day. Let's listen and hear what we're doing. Right, so that's what we're taking out there. Right. So that's for the sides, and then for the mids, let's listen. As you can hear, those are resonant frequencies that will become problematic when I get to the compression stage. Okay, very important. And then I have another EQ here, and with this one, I'm boosting up to 1 dB, around 60 hertz, to add punch to the low end. Right, just accentuate the kick. Yeah. And I'm doing another cut here around 6K up to minus 1 dB. Let's listen. Yeah, I think I know why I did that, because it was sounding a little bit harsh, as you can hear. So that's what I'm taking out from the record.
I want to kill it at this class.
Very, 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 very good. And then the next plugin in this chain, because this is actually a plugin within the plugin when you think about it, is the Imager. This is actually my favorite stereo width plugin to work with, because you can set crossover points and then affect each of them differently, which is great. Now we have 4 bands, and I usually like to make the high bands wider and make the low bands tighter, so I can have like a very tight low end and a very open high and high mid frequencies. So that's what we're doing here. So for the highs, which I've set from 10K and up, I've set the stereo widening to about 54, and then for the high mids, which I've set from 1.5K to 10K, I've set this to 33. I left the low mid alone. I like the way the low mid sounded for this record. Actually, I usually don't always touch low mid. I just leave them the way they sound. And I've set the low frequencies, which is from 122 hertz and below, to be tighter, essentially making sure that I have a very tight low end, basically.
Give me a magic kamikaze. Yeah, running like I can play on my life in like
There's another thing that I'm also doing here. I've set the Ozone plugin to gain match to make sure that I am not adding gain at this stage of my mastering process, because I'm not trying to do that. And then the next plugin on the mastering chain is the Pultec EQ. And I'm using this to boost the low end up to 3 dB, around 60 kilohertz. Right, also boost the highs up to 4 dB, around 16, to just add that sheen to the overall song. Okay, I've also set the bandwidth to be like mid, so it's not like broad or sharp, but just like somewhere in the middle. So let's listen to this before and after and hear the difference that this plugin is making. So before,
come on, make my body relax, yeah. And she got the body, sweet melanin, sugar cane, and my Oreo, baby girl.
And then after,
and my Oreo, baby girl, make make you wine for me, yo. Cause it's been a long time, I don't get it that for you. I know.
Right, you can hear how it makes the song sound thick. It's also something I'm doing here that I've not mentioned. I'm doing up to 2 dB of attenuation, around 5 kilohertz as well. You know, simple stuff. Okay, and then the next plugin on the master chain is the SSL-G Master Bus Compressor. Now, the purpose of this compressor essentially is to glue the whole track together, basically. I've set the attack to be a slow attack, around 10 milliseconds, to make sure we're not squashing the transient, okay? Threshold is around 13 dB. I've set the release to be a very, very fast release. The ratio, I've set the ratio to 2:1. I'm not trying to do heavy compression because, again, this is mastering. Basically, the higher the ratio, the higher the amount of compression you're going to get. And then I've set this to analog to try and get that analog feel, you know. And then I'm doing a makeup gain up to 2 dB because I think we're getting around 2 dB of gain reduction. Let's listen to that.
I no go fit to die for you, oh.
Yeah.
But you see my money back, all of them for you. Get now water side money, oh. It can.
Yeah, pretty much. That's that for that. And then the next plugin on my vocal chain is the IM Pusher. This is actually one of my favorite plugins because this does a lot to really make the song sound very loud and thick. So what I'm doing here mostly is boosting the mid, this magic button here, to add some magic, right? It just makes it come alive a little bit. Focus, I've set the focus to 4:1, and then I've set the body to about 5. The body is more or less like the low mid, and then I boosted the low up to 3 dB. The EQ adjustment that this plugin makes to your song is actually very transparent and it's actually very smooth. I really like it. And I'm using the clip function here as well, and I've set that to 5. Listen to this before and after so you can hear the effect that this plugin is doing to this mastering. It's crazy. So before,
it can never run dry, cause it's like an ocean. Back on me when I'm
and then after.
That side money, yo. It can never run dry, cause it's like an ocean. Back on me when I'm talking, baby.
I look crazy. I actually made a video on how you can use just this plugin to master your records, and I'm going to leave a link here as well so you can check that out. And now the last plugin on the mastering chain is the Pro L2 limiter. By the way, the reason I like to do clipping before I get to my limiting is so that when I get to limiting, I am not doing so much with the limiter, essentially eliminating that pumping, you know, effect you get when you are doing so much limiting to your record. Okay, with this I'm doing the gain up to like 4 dB here. Turn off true peak limiting, very important. I've set the detail to 24 bits. I've set the attack to about 585.6 milliseconds. Again, I'm trying to make sure I am not, you know, destroying my transient, very important. And I've set the release to relatively fast release, as you can see, up to 85 milliseconds here. I've set look ahead to 3 milliseconds, and I've set the style to modern. I've also set oversampling to 4x. This is another thing that I'm doing here, which I think is very important. I've set my output to minus 0.5 dB. So essentially, no matter how loud we get, we're not going to exceed minus 0.5 dB. Basically, let's see where we're hitting with our LUFS with this master.
Baby, throw your back on me, make I give you weekly doggy. I been throw your back on me when I'm talking. No, I need some company. Shabali, throw your back on me, make I give you weekly doggy. Girl, throw your back on me when I'm talking. Baby, throw your back on me, make I give you weekly doggy. I been throw your back on me when I'm talking. No, I need some company. Shabali, throw your back on me, make I give you weekly doggy.
So we're hitting minus 10.8 LUFS integrated, right? Which is great, which is very competitive. That's what you want. So yeah, man, that's it. That's all we've done for this record. That's the mastering chain. Again, I'm going to leave a link here in case you want to buy my vocal presets and mastering presets. I actually have this mastering preset, this exact mastering preset on the store for sale. So buy, support your boy, invest in your music, make some amazing music as well. All right, so yeah, man, that's going to be for now. I hope you got something from this. If you did, make sure you leave me a like as well and subscribe if you've not. And if you'd like to book my services for mixing and mastering in stereo and Dolby Atmos, I'm going to leave a link to the engineers page below so you can book my services, or hit me up on Instagram at BennyMacaulay.db. Okay, and if you are a music producer or an upcoming artist and you want to record yourself and you have Logic, I'm going to leave a link below as well to my free Logic Pro recording template. It comes with a free Afrobeat presets, all stock plugins. So all you need is Logic Pro and you are good to go. All right. And one more time, if you'd like to buy my vocal preset and mastering preset, I'm going to leave a link below as well so you can get them. Okay. So that's good to be for now. Thank you for watching. Shall see you on the next one. Benny Macaulay out.
Throw your back on me when I'm talking. Baby, throw your back on me. Make I give you weekly doggy. I been no throw your back on me when I'm talking. No, I need some company. Shabali, throw your back on me. Make I give you weekly doggy. Girl, you know throw your back on me when I'm talking. Baby, throw your back on me. Make I give you weekly doggy. I been no throw your back on me when I'm talking. No, I need some company. Shabali, throw your back on me. Make I give you weekly doggy.